What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and I've already uploaded a video today, but I'm going to upload another one because I've wanted to do this video for a while, actually, truthfully, since I started the channel. But I just, I wanted to make sure that it was timed correctly, and that I guess that I had my hands on everything that I wanted to get my hands on. I'm not even a year into this. So I'm definitely at a point where I can do it. Slicey Dicey had the open tag, and I thought, you know what, the time's right, let's do it. So you might be wondering, is this the first one on his list? The legendary Ontario Rat 1 and D2 Steel? No, it is an honorable mention. I have a different list, a top five, but I just can't deny the epicness of the Ontario Rat 1. I beat the crap out of this knife. I use it in my backyard. It's a go-to knife, for a lot of different things. I can reach for it and use it without thinking twice. I don't have like that, that connection with it that like brings me joy every time I use it. I look at it more as a tool than anything else, but man, is it dependable. It is absolutely a dependable cutting tool. It is made very, very well. It's reliable. It rides nice. It doesn't weigh a whole lot, and there's a lot of blade there. There's a lot of thin, flat ground blade made out of a good steel, D2 steel. So absolutely an honorable mention on my list, the Ontario Rat 1. Sorry I didn't bother to clean it off. Whatever. So, on to the first one. Now, these are in order. The last one will be my favorite. My first one, I don't want to say the first one is my least favorite because that makes it sound like I don't like it. I love all of these knives. These are my top 5 favorite EDC knives of all time. I'm going to warn you guys, though. My list varies drastically by price. So price is not something that I am considering here. I'm not, it's not like if the price is really, really high on one, then it can't make my list because as you're about to see, it absolutely will. This is just for me, my favorite EDC knives of all time. And each one of these knives I have spent an extensive amount of time with, and I can definitively say that each one of these makes my top 5 list. So here we go. Number 1. The Benchmade Griptilian. This is a legendary knife, loved by many, not loved by very few. The Benchmade Griptilian has been famous for a long time. It is an excellent size at about 8 inches overall. They come in a variety of different steels and handle materials. This particular one is the DLT Trading exclusive 1701, I think. Yeah, I think it's a 1701 Griptilian. M390 blade, carbon fiber, and brass standoffs. Couldn't pass that up. The Benchmade Griptilian is absolutely in my top 5. I love how this thing carries. I love how it deploys. It has the fidget factor. When I want an axis lock thumb stud, there is no knife that brings me as much joy as the Benchmade Griptilian. It's a fantastic knife. If you've never had the pleasure of owning a Benchmade Griptilian, whether it's in its base form or it's in its really, really, one of its more exotic forms, you should definitely give one a shot because they are absolutely amazing knives. Moving on here to number 2. I'm sure a lot of people, those of you who have been a part of my channel for a while have guesses, but you're going to be surprised probably that number 2 is the Inosi. I love the Inosi, especially, here lately I've been trying to find a Chris Reeve knife that I wanted to fall in love with enough to go ahead and make a purchase. David, my friend David, actually bought this, and I got it in hand, and I immediately traded him for it. I had to have this knife. I love the simple construction. I love the titanium. I love the sterile looking blade. I love the way that the blade is ground. I love the feeling of the glass smooth action. I love the way that it locks up the solidity, the feeling of just this knife having such incredible structural integrity. I trust it 100%. And I know that if I need to break this knife down and clean it, it's not going to be a hassle, and it makes me less afraid to use it, despite the fact that this particular version of the knife is $550, which is going to make a lot of people mad because not everybody's in, a world where they can just get one like this, and I understand that. But for me, out of everything that I've handled, I absolutely love this knife for so many reasons, and I think it is nearly a perfect everyday carry knife. And I do carry it. If you've been watching my videos, I absolutely do. Okay, next up, number 3. I'm being honest with myself and with my viewers. I enjoy this knife more than the Inosi. the Spyderco Manix 2. Of course, I have another opportunity to show off the red one. I'm going to show off the red one. Spyderco Manix 2 for the longest time was tied for first for my all-time favorite EDC. The forward choil on this knife, absolutely 100%. The ergonomics, it just fits my hand perfectly. It's 8 inches overall. These knives range in weight depending on what version you get. The one that I actually EDC is not the one I'm showing. The black one is a full steel liner version weighing 5 ounces. I don't know. It has the kind of the heft that I like, the solidity that I like. I trust this locking mechanism, the ball bearing lock, a little more than the axis lock. The slicey nature of the blade, the full flat ground blade. It may not be the prettiest knife out there, but man, is it functional. I mean, this thing is just purpose built. Love it. Love the spider hole. Love the fidget factor on this one. Absolutely dependable, absolutely solid, perfectly solid lockup. Love that, and I love the fact that you can get it at a reasonable price. This particular version at 130 bucks, and even the one I EDC'd about 130 bucks. So absolutely love that guy. Next up, number 2. Number 2 favorite EDC of all time. That was really anticlimactic. The Spyderco Shaman. Forever, there was no knife that could draw a wedge between the Manix 2 being tied for number 1 and what I actually have as my number 1. So this is a weird situation. Despite what this knife costs, the way that this knife fits in my hand, it's everything that I love about the Manix 2. And then it's accentuated, and it's the parts of the paramilitary 2 that just don't do it for me added in a way that does do it for me, and that's weird. It satisfies my urge to get a strider even though I don't want a strider because it kind of has that shape. The blade is almost fully flat ground. It has that, kind of thicker blade that satisfies my urge to carry a more hard use knife, yet the knife does not have a substantial footprint. It's got countersunk steel liners. It absolutely has the fidget factor. It absolutely locks up solid. It's got that amazing forward choil. Ergonomics on this guy, really, really difficult, but I do put it above the Manix 2 in ergonomics. 100% love this knife. If you watched my video unboxing the Shaman for the first time and holding it, it was mind-blowing. Unlocking it and sort of holding it in its unlocked form, fully, the blade fully out. It was crazy. I fell in love with it immediately. Love this knife. Absolutely carry it. Absolutely use it. Love it. Okay, guys. Most of you that are subscribed know what my number 1 is. You're going to know. Those of you who are not subscribed, some of you are going to applaud this, and some of you are going to roll your eyes, and some of you are just going to get really mad and stop watching the video. But here we go. My number 1 favorite knife of all time, the knife that brings me more joy than any other knife I have ever carried and continues to do so, is the Hinderer Gen 6 XM18 3.5 inch. Now, truthfully, the only version of this that could bring me more happiness would be the exact same thing with a forward choil. The Spanto in 20 CV, this particular one in full titanium. This has the steel lock bar insert. This has the tri-way pivot system. It's currently running on bearings. This knife has the combination of the thick, robust, hard use nature that I enjoy. It has the ergonomics that I enjoy. It has the satisfying deployment. It's both thumb stud and flipper. Fidget factor is absolutely there. Aesthetically, this is the most beautiful knife that I have ever seen. I love the way the textured titanium reflects light. There is no knife that has ever, and dare I say, will ever bring me as much joy as a fully stonewashed Gen 6 full titanium XM18 3.5 inch. I love this knife. The irony being I don't actually carry this one. That's how much I love this particular one. I have had, I think, 19 Hinderers in my life, and I absolutely have EDC'd them, and I love them. These knives are incredible. They are so dependable. They lock up solid. There's no blade play. They get smooth whether you're running with the Gen 4 Teflon versions or these new ones that can have PB washers or bearings. They won't let you down. On top of that, I love the fact that these are fully customizable. If for whatever reason this look becomes boring to me, I can change out the pivot. I can change out the handle hardware. I can change out the standoffs. I can change out the other side, the pocket clip, the filler tab. I can change out the entire front scale back to G10, any color that I want, different versions of titanium. Or, you know, what I've come to do often is just buy an entirely new Hinderer so that I can customize it the way I want and keep the one that I've always loved. I always do that, and those are the words of a crazy person, you know. But I'm a crazy person, you know. Hence the name Metal Complex. I have I have very close to what a lot of people would consider a mental issue with my fascination with premium cutlery, and a lot of it was magnified the first time I saw a full titanium Hinderer XM18, and this was back when they were unobtainable, and that absolutely had something to do with it. I was like, I want that. Oh, they're not available? Well, what does it cost to pry one out of somebody's hands? $800? This was back in 2013. And I was like, oh, I want that. Why? You know, why is it so expensive? You know, well, I learned, and I eventually got my hands on one right at the tail end of when they were, starting to, not be so unavailable and be more available. And then, I got my first one, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. It was around the 12th one that I finally got my full titanium version, and I fell in love with it. And this is my third full titanium stonewashed version of this knife. All three of those have been on this channel. The first one being the Gen 4 Hinderer XM18 Harpoon Spanto. Full tie, looked just like this, but was Gen 4 Harpoon Spanto. Then I had a full tie Sheepsfoot Gen 5, which are very rare. And then I got rid of that, and I got my No Choil Spanto in M390 and put my tie scale back on it. And I just absolutely love this knife. I don't know that a knife will ever bring me this much joy. Just honestly, just now you guys, if you didn't know exactly who I was and you've been watching this channel, now you know who I am. You know where the bar is set for me. When I look at new knives, when I compare, when I talk about things I like or don't like, the knives that are doing this for me are all the knives that I showed in this video. So this is what has created, it didn't create my fascination. It's what my fascination led to. It's what this crazy knife world did to me. It brought me to love these knives more than any other knives that I've ever handled. And if you've watched this channel, then you'll know I've handled some extremely expensive knives, and I do love those. And I have dream knives that I haven't had my hands on or don't own. I would love to own a Praetorian tie, as ridiculous as that is. I would love to own it. I'm not going to lie about that. For a long time, one of my dream knives was the Todd Begg Bugatti, and David bought one of those, and I got to handle it, and I love that, but it still wouldn't make my top 5 list. These are the knives that have brought me more love and more joy than anything else that I have ever handled, honestly. And that one in the middle, boy, part of me hopes that someday, a knife will come to surpass the XM18 for me. But the other half of me honestly doesn't ever want it to happen. I actually want to love that. That's what Rick Hinderer does to a lot of people. If you're not the type of person who likes Rick Hinderer knives and you're confused, I don't know how to describe it to you, but the people who love Rick Hinderer knives, you almost always buy multiple. You become completely fascinated with the different blade styles, the customization, the different finishes. Something about the look and something about the way everything fits together. There's a Hinderer that speaks to most people. I don't know how to put that, but anyways, these are my top 5. I'm sorry if it was boring for some people or if it was predictable for some people. I'm sure that it was. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, please do. I have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel, because there is definitely more coming. Thank you again to Slicey Dicey for, kind of starting this. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I had a lot of fun thinking about it for a long time. But anyways, thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.